Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is David and today I am going to slay the TBR monster, just like Michael K. Vaughan did very recently on his own channel. And of course he was influenced by one of my recent videos where I basically gave up on the idea of following 18 bajillion reading plans. All of these read every book by challenges and all of the read-alongs and readathons, and there's just so much fun stuff to do, and it can be challenging. And making a monthly TBR sounds great because then you pick out these 20 books that you're really excited and this is what I want to read next. And then you get about 3 books in, and you're like, I don't know if this is the book that I want to read next. I want to read one of these, but I can't because it's not on my TBR. And so Michael, being the mad genius that he is, came up with the idea of the next 5. So he came out and announced the next 5 books that he's going to be reading, and you should definitely check out his video. He's got some good books coming up. Of course, it may be 2023 before he finishes The Stand by Stephen King and can even get to those next 5 books. But all things considered, he's got a plan in place, and it's a realistic and reasonable plan to do the next 5. And I like that idea. So we're going to continue this trend of he influences me and I influence him back in a slightly lesser manner. We have this crazy kind of synergistic relation here on BookTube. Only I'm behind on one score, and so I need to start putting together a box full of books to send over to Stately Vaughan Manor to redeem myself from all of those Burroughs books that he sent me months ago in his kind generosity. So don't worry, Michael. It's coming eventually. I'm working on it, one book at a time. So I wanted to talk about the next 5 books that I'm going to be reading. So this is not including any of the books that I'm currently reading. So these are the books that I'm liable to pick up next. This also does not include the couple of read-alongs that I've got for buddy reads next month in November. So I'm going to be buddy reading with John from Hey Y'all Listen Up, more of Caesar, and we should be finishing all of Julius Caesar's writings next month with his 3 shorter books. I still need to get to Civil War this month, but I've still got half the month to go. So I'm actually getting into good shape, and I'll be rolling into Civil War soon. That's the unofficial next book before these books. It does not include War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, which I'll be reading with Alicia. Her channel is fantastic. You should definitely check her out. I'm looking forward to rereading War of the Worlds and getting to hear her experience that book for the first time on her end. It does not include my read of King Arthur by John Steinbeck, which I'm going to be buddy reading with the wonderful Shelley Swearingen, because I'm not going to forget that. Definitely going to be reading that with her. And of course, it also does not include, gosh, I'm drawing a complete blank. There's one other book that I'm buddy reading next month. It'll hit me later. It'll probably hit me right as soon as I finish this video, but I've got one more that I'm buddy reading. I had it in mind earlier, and I've completely lost it. But that's okay, because Mad Ship, that I'm going to be buddy reading with Rachel is Reading and Beth Ann, 2 wonderful channels as well. Of course, I'm obviously going to be doing that. Any excuse to read more Robin Hobb, I'm going to take at this point in time. So those 3 books are definitely hitting my reading list in November. And the beautiful thing about the next 5 book idea is this is not 5 books that I'm committing to read in October or November or December. They are just the next 5 that I will be picking up outside of these few that I'm going to be doing along the way. So if I don't get to any of these until December or even January, it's okay. But these are going to be the next 5 that I pick up. Now, there's 2 caveats. This is not going to include any ebooks. I read 1 ebook at a time on my phone. That's usually my kind of filler time book. I'm out and about, didn't grab a book with me, or don't have time to take a book with me, or don't feel like grabbing the book to take along, but I've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes to read something, and I've got my phone, I'll start reading it. And so that's going to be dedicated to moving forward a little bit on some NetGalley books. I've got a couple of those lined up in the queue after I finish my book by Alistair Reynolds. Also does not include audiobooks because that's completely based on what's available from the library system for audiobooks. Right now I'm listening to Last Light of the Sun by Guy Gabriel Kay. For getting to my very first experience with that author. We'll see what goes after that. And that especially, the audiobook, will give me a lot of flexibility to what I want to go to next if I'm not sold on these 5 books. So let's talk about the books I'm going to be reading next. Now, this is a fringe book, so in my next 5, I will for sure be reading a Ray Bradbury book. Depending on the timing of said reading, it will either be A Graveyard for Lunatics, which is a novel that is taking place Halloween night, 1954. So it makes sense to try to get this in October. If I don't succeed in October, and it happens to be November, then instead I will be reading S is for Space, which is some short stories to fit in with New Worlds November. I wanted to make sure I had at least 1 short story book to fit the sci-fi theme for New World November, and it's a Ray Bradbury. I want to read it, so this is going to fit the bill. So those are my dual pick right there for book number 1. I may end up getting both of them. Book number 2 should come as very little surprise. That's going to be The Consuming Fire by John Scalzi. I want to continue the series. This is the next book in that series. This is me making forward progress. Book number 3 is kind of a fringe, sci-fi, fringe, non-fiction, fringe. It's medieval, and it's kind of hard to categorize. And it's one I had originally planned on reading in November anyway. This is The Travels of Sir John Mandeville. It's an intriguing blend of fact, exaggeration, and absurdity. So it fits really well with what I want to do in November. It's nice and short. It's medieval. It's one I've never read. I picked it up with the intent of reading it in November. I just so happened to be adding it to my list in November. I was looking at other things, and then I saw that one. I said, yeah, this is the one I want to read. Book number 4 is one that no one would be able to have picked. The Greeks by H.D.F. Kitto. This is my official nonfiction November attempt, assuming I can start it in November. And the reason I want to read this, because it's about the Greeks. It's, relatively short, 250-ish pages, because just last month I finished reading this massive tome on the Greeks, A Global History by Roderick Beaton, for a review that I was writing for Steve Donahue. And this comes out this month. It comes out on the 26th, and I highly recommend this one. This is good. If you don't like historical nonfiction and you think it'll be dry, this isn't going to remove that effect from you. it falls into the same trapping as any historical book. It's going to be dry at points. It's going to be slower to read, as you would expect, but it's got a refreshing perspective. And it covers them from the classical period for about half the book, and it moves all the way to current day, so 2021 on Greek history. And I learned a lot from this book. I'm so glad that I was able to enjoy it. And it had me wanting to immediately start reading this one. And now I'm making it a point to put it on my next 5 that I'm going to be reading. So that is 4 out of 5. And what I'm going to do with the 5th one, I'm going to be doing this for a while because I've got 9 books on here that I need to get to. I've got a wheel of books that I took as recommendations from my Discord. And if you'll remember, I spun this a couple months ago, and the book Palace by Catherine Kerr won. And I did end up reading that. Enjoyed it. It was fine. It didn't blow me away. Ran out of time to review it before it had to go back. But I definitely am glad I read it. Probably won't continue that if it is a series. But I'm very thankful for the pick and that I read it. And so now I'm going to spin this wheel and let's see what comes up for my alternative picks here. So book number 5 for me is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. So this is one that I know about. I've had it recommended by multiple people. So whether you are in my Discord, whether you're not, in this video only, if you want to leave a comment down below with a single book. So Andrew, from Andrew's Wizardly Reads, when I did my Read Every Book by Author Challenge, he left like 20 comments with 20 different authors. One, I know you've already got guards on here. You can add one more onto the list. But leave a comment, give me one book. I'll add it to the wheel. And this will just be a continuous, it'll be book number 5 that I'll spin every time and add that to my next 5 and try to make some progress on ones that I don't own and ones that I may not get to otherwise. So, and that's going to be my commitment going forward, is I'm going to try to have 4 from my shelf because I want to make progress through what I own, and then 1 from all of you, my wonderful viewers. So that's all I wanted to say. Get my next 5 out there, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's some good books, I think. I know I'm going to enjoy at least Consuming Fire. I'm pretty sure I will enjoy either or both of those Ray Bradburys. I probably should enjoy John Mandeville. The Greeks may or may not resonate with me, but Nonfiction November, I want to make sure I participate as best as I can. So, and then City of Brass, which I'm actually excited to pick up and to check out and to start diving into as I finish some of my other books that I'm currently reading. I know what my next ones I'll be grabbing are. So thank you for watching.